did these floors.
Okay.
Ron and Jenny, that's what they do.
So
Zach, what grade would you give yourself for today?
Low B, high C. I don't think I contributed. I don't think I had very...
The States of Consciousness chapter was not as interesting for you.
Innovative takes, hot viewpoints. Not my thing for
Do you feel that that's a necessary thing to have in a discussion?
yes.
I think it's a helpful.
No, fair enough. How about any kind of bonus points? Any points that we didn't make that we wanted to talk about today?
Don't you have a quote?
Oh, well, yeah, but it was about marijuana and we barely talked about that.
But
that could be a bonus
This is
point.
bonus point.
This is bonus
Right.
points.
Marijuana,
Bonus
quite the bonus.
We didn't talk about substance use hardly at all.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's
Besides
huge for
opioids.
altered states of consciousness.
We avoided it because we don't want to be, what's it called, where it's a red thing on 18 and over on YouTube?
You're not going to get age restricted.
Age restricted, that's
I
it.
highly doubt.
We want to avoid age restrictions.
The kids deserve to be educated.
They do deserve to be.
It's important
Purely
to make smart
psychological
decisions about
approach.
exactly from a psychological
research.
approach. What are you doing?
I do think that question's very interesting, the marijuana, because one of our questions was, is marijuana safer than alcohol or tobacco? Or if it is safer, why is it illegal?
Well, let's talk
'Cause
about
I
it
think
as a
that's
bonus point.
Very interesting.
Well, I think the book really talked about how it's like really still pretty much illegal in a lot of places, like at least for recreational use it's really only clear for medical use, and there's not a lot of research because it's illegal and because it's like hard to get clearance to like
That's
run
true,
those
too.
studies,
Well,
I think, or
so
like
we don't know.
Psychoactive.
And
drugs.
technically it is illegal everywhere in the
Which
United
I
States,
guess
even for
marijuana
medical
is.
use, because of federal law. They just don't enforce federal law.
Oh.
At state
Yeah,
level.
the fact that the
Yeah.
states have legalized it is not okay, according to the Justice Department.
But they're not doing anything about it.
Not yet. They
But
keep
you-
saying they're going to. I don't think they're really going
Well, like
to.
if you're in
I thought it
Colorado,
was good for the economy.
which
Oh, it is.
weed is legal there, and you work at a company that is a federal company, they can still drug test you. For
Oh, no, and you can still be drug tested no matter what. That's
Yeah,
why if
and
people
you can
watch
still
this
not
5
get
years
jobs.
from now, people are going to be like, what? Any of that stuff was illegal? Anything was illegal?
Yeah.
But, no, that's kind of our bonus idea. Other things that struck us too? Did anything, oh, go ahead. No, please.
I thought Jack had a quote. That was all.
You're very focused on this quote.
I want to know what it is.
Okay, well basically it's because part of the question was why is weed illegal even though alcohol abuse and nicotine are so much worse for you, or at least cigarettes.
Cigarettes.
And the quote I have is from John Ehrlichman, who was one of Nixon's chief advisors. Basically it says, quote, "We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or black. But by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and blacks with heroin and then criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt those communities. Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Of course we did."
Oh.
So if you trust John Ehrlichman, the reason is racism.
Yeah,
Exactly.
there's like the whole like opiate epidemic, which is mainly, more white people if you kind of think about it. And there are so many like rehabs and all these different
Well, it's
structures that are put into place to help people rehabilitate from them, and like jail isn't the only option. But when you have like the war on drugs, you think of the drugs that are more primarily connoted with people who
Not
are
white.
are not white. So
And these are
opioids.
endless wars too.
for
Yeah.
opioids, it's rural communities, I
Yeah.
think, is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And black people just don't live in rural communities.
no,
Which I'm not saying it's their fault.
no,
but-
no.
Other bonus points.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I don't know a whole lot about marijuana.
No, fair
and so
enough.
I'm not gonna say if it's safe or not, but I think we obviously know alcohol and tobacco, or at least alcohol abuse and tobacco are dangerous, and I think a lot of the reasons why one over the other is corporations. I mean, first of all, I mean, just alcohol and tobacco has been around since our country began.
Every country, but
Right, and I mean, for, it's just always been more accepted. I mean, even go back to, watch a sports game. You will see it immediately after a commercial for Budweiser, And in the 70s, you had, like, Sam Elliott doing he was the Marlboro Man.
was he?
I'm pretty
Okay.
sure
No,
he was
I
the
believe it.
Marlboro
I
Man,
didn't
yeah.
know that. Yeah.
You had Joe Camel, pretty much as an advertisement for children.
Right.
The Cardinals
cartoon.
have a stadium that is named after alcohol, Busch Stadium. The Brewers is also, they have
The Brewers, that's
Miller Park. You
right.
have Coors Field, yeah. So it's these giant corporations, and that's, I think, a major reason why. Whereas with marijuana, I don't know when it became popular in the country, but
It's kind of
It's-
been popular for a while.
It sort of always
It's always-
was.
Yeah.
It was
Has it always?
illegalized. It was illegalized in the 30s, but I mean,
okay.
all
Were
these
used
drugs
before
were
that.
popularly used for a long, long time. I don't know why corporations didn't cash in on them the way they did.
And that's the thing is, like, 'cause there's no, like, most of the time, I mean, I don't know, but I would assume it's people just grow it on their own?
Well, it's a
I don't
schedule.
know.
It's a Schedule 1 drug, which means that it has no medicinal qualities or whatever. And so that's why I don't understand how there's medicinal marijuana that they make legal too. So it's definitely something that's working its way through the culture,
Sure.
through the courts, and your generation's going to have to sort out how you want to make it legal or what restrictions. I don't know that it's not like a DWI. I don't know what kind of tests they use for driving.
They're
Well, it
starting
is like
to
a
develop
WI.
for
Pretty
DWI.
much, if you're caught driving while under the influence of marijuana, it's equivalent, like you can get a DUI and go.
Yeah, but how do they know how much you've had, though? That's what I mean.
That
That's
is
what
the
they're
question.
trying. That's why I feel like there's a lot more research coming out
Apparently
since it's
Yes.
become more of an issue now. So, like, for DWIs, they're trying to find a way to kind of have like a breathalyzer, essentially.
When
but
is
for
it too
marijuana.
much?
Because right now, all they have is blood tests, which will only test if you've done marijuana ever. So that's
Right.
not really a fair test for whenever you're driving, because just because you're driving and you have marijuana in your system doesn't mean you're driving while high.
Right, right.
Because
Yeah.
that stuff stays in your system for like a long time, at least a month.
Well, I think they can test your hair and then it's 90 days. Maybe
I
it's
thought
more.
hair is more.
Maybe it's more.
It's like
I'm pretty sure
if
it is.
I've smoked weed down here at the tip of my hair, it'll be in it,
Yeah.
and
what
it'll
I
be
thought.
up here too. So
There we
all
go.
the way through.
Yeah. And your hair does look very nice today. I think we discussed that earlier.
Thanks, guys.
I wonder, like, because they always talk about, like, 3 beers is the equivalent to, like, say, I don't know, like a shot. I'm curious, like, what's the...
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't know
this
what
is
the,
very.
I have no idea what the equivalency
Right.
is.
I
You
mean,
know,
like,
Margaritas,
big-
is it not safe to drive?
like,
Yeah.
can you smoke marijuana and not get high? Like, that's...
There are people who
Bill
smoke
Clinton
and
said he
don't
didn't
get high.
inhale. He didn't inhale.
What?
So he
Okay.
smoked
Oh,
it.
he
He
just
smoked it but
inhaled.
just left it. It's kind of like wine, you just like swish it around, taste it, and then you spin it back out.
Sublingual absorption.
Ashley, you were going to say something.
Are we gonna-
Oh, I feel like the big thing though is that like there's less, whether it's real or not, there's less perceived familiarity with a lot of drugs that are not alcohol or tobacco, and that the big thing that's going to decide where we go from here is as people become, like, you see more people start using things, and so like the social acceptability changes, and you see more research come out that shows like what the actual longitudinal results are, because like one of the biggest things against marijuana right now is that a lot of the like studies, a lot of like the statistics on who's using it favor like younger people. And the problem with younger people using a psychoactive drug is that your brain is still developing and they don't
Right.
know how that impacts
Right.
your brain yet. And so like they don't know that if like you're smoking weed when you're 14, if that's
Right.
going to mean that you're going to have like a decreased IQ when you're 30.
Because your
they just
brain
haven't
develop
done-
right. You're in
Yeah.
brain development's through 25,
Exactly.
and so it's much more dangerous to be smoking at 14. And so maybe they need to change the ages at which things are legal too. Instead of being 21,
And
it
so,
should be
like,
25.
as more research comes out, I feel like we'll have more answers. But I feel like kind of calling back to, like, our why, like, question about, like, why do people change, like, seek altered states of consciousness? I feel like it comes down to basically, like, 3 things. Like, people are either curious and just want to, like, try because people are naturally curious.
Sure.
There's like social pressure where people, like, all of my friends have done this, or like it's a conversation point, so they want to try to like change either with like anything, like not just drugs, but like sleep deprivation and stuff
Right.
like that. But and then the third one, I lost.
That's okay.
So-
I don't know what the third one is. What I was going to say though, in terms of altered
escapism.
states, to escape from their life. Is I've had colleagues who use those sensory deprivation tanks. Yeah, which is going in an entirely different direction.
Yeah.
That. Explain that. What exactly happens in the sensory deprivation?
So
Your
it's-
brain in a vat.
It is essentially you're
Aren't
floating,
you just like floating in like a little bit of water in like a little like orb?
and it's warm.
Like the same
And-
temperature as your body?
Yeah, and then there's no visual or auditory stimuli, and so it's
It's
like
just like pitch black?
it's being
Yeah.
it's being in a void is essentially what it is.
Who would want that?
Well, I think there's one in town. Like there's a place where you
Really?
can do it in town.
I should try that.
But like I nanny for some
Escapism. See,
yeah,
there you go.
I nanny for some families who like
They
have
use
had
it?
me babysit for them while they go to a sensory deprivation chamber, and essentially like a lot of them talk about it in like relationship to like technology. Like it's the best way to go unplugged is what some people
Oh, that's
like
still
preach
plugged
about.
in.
You know, yeah, because like okay,
Right.
so like talking about how we live in such a globally connected world, and like every moment of every
Right.
day you're stimulated by something, and that it gets exhausting, you know? And so the idea is that like, well, one, like for meditation purposes and for like mindfulness purposes, like what is it like when you take away all your stimuli and you are just with yourself? Like one thing that people who meditate will talk about sometimes is that it's hard to because you're distracted. Like, you know, like there's something going by outside, or you hear or you feel a bug crawling on your leg. And,
Well,
like,
if I can
you're
ask you guys,
distracted.
because we haven't had our phones out, is anybody feeling antsy because you haven't had your phone?
A little bit.
I hate having my phone on me.
I don't like having my
So-
phone on me either. I'm not that accessible. Is how I see it.
Well, but
go
that's
ahead.
why,
What
though.
else?
It's because I feel like I hate being dependent on anything. Like as a like I am as a person have like maybe like issues with like the concept of independence, but like part of that is that well, like I work from my phone, I socialize from my phone, like I can order food from my phone, like potentially I could get all of my needs from having my phone on me.
Sure.
But like I have had so many of my friends, so many of my siblings, like I've seen it become like something that just consumes their life, and they cannot just be present and have a conversation or go on a drive or be on a hike and have no cell service.
Well, this
you
is
know?
this is outside of states of consciousness, but I
Yeah.
will ask you guys this question. No, I want to stay with it if we could. Is so we would have dinner as a family with my children, and there was no cell phones at the table. Is that the way you guys were raised too, or is that okay? Or were you allowed to have cell phones?
Not at the table.
Okay.
That's just, I mean, if anything,
It's
it's
just
kind of
family
considered
time.
rude more than anything. Because I'll be honest, like sometimes I'll eat in my room.
Okay.
Just to, get away from everything. But like if you're sitting at a table with people, like it's just, I think more than anything, it's just kind of common courtesy. You don't sit there as someone's, talking, just and telling how their day is, and you're like, yeah, that's...
Well, we're shooting this in
interesting.
2019, and my students are on their phones all the time in class.
It's because they
And
don't respect you. You need to discipline.
no,
Say.
it's that
That's
they don't respect themselves.
It's a lot.
On that note,
No, like and subscribe.
like, subscribe.
In conclusion, we think that the legal drinking age should be raised to 25.
Well, I don't know. I don't
Same
know.
as like when you can rent a car.
Is that you have to be 25 to get
To
a
not
car?
have like
Most agencies.
well, like they'll let you
What's a
rent.
hotel room? 20, 21?
21 for most hotel rooms, but some of them don't. do
Some of
that.
them they're like, man, better on the streets.
The cheap ones don't care.
Oh my heavens.
But with renting a car, like unless you have like a young renter's fee, which is like ridiculous,
Oh,
you have to be
okay.
25.
25.
Because I've had to rent a car before, but I think it's like $50 extra every day. It's like a young
Jeez. Well, they're definitely making their money back on that.
renter, no doubt.
So that's states of consciousness. And yeah, I think that's it, right? I think we left it at that.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you for the next chapter.
Bye-bye.
I think I'm over this way today.